Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters and viewers of IQRA TV, to another second part of Real Talk. Today I'm talking to somebody really eminent, and I mean that in the sense that she's a professor of, and also the Vice Chancellor of the University of Bradford. A very important position to have. It comes with enormous responsibility, and I'm sure those who have heard Professor Shirley Congdon in the first part will probably know that, or will hope and will pray for her and wish that her well in this job. She's only recently been appointed. She says it's coming up to 100 days, and we know that when presidents and prime ministers are appointed first time, the first 100 days are the ones that people scrutinize them on quite a lot. And I hope that's not been the case with you. Shirley, we've been talking about lots of issues around Bradford University and your role, etc., and your links into the community. Obviously, quite a substantial number of students come from abroad, to the University of Bradford, and that's a growing area that university is trying to cultivate and develop. Now, here we have a very large Pakistani community in Bradford, who've been third, fourth generations now. Have you got any links with people, so universities in Pakistan in particular, or India, Bangladesh, etc., in the South Asian continent? And how strong are those links between the University of Bradford and the work that you're doing in the Asian subcontinent?
Yeah, so I think if we take Pakistan as an example, we do have links in Pakistan.
Right.
We have people from our recruitment team who work out in Pakistan,
Right.
working directly with either schools or colleges or university. And obviously you referred to Imran Khan earlier in our conversation.
You have a friend there now, a very important
we have
friend there.
An eminent friend there, and he is a good friend of the university.
Yes, he's
and of
former
course,
Chancellor.
Yeah, we established Namal College with
Right.
Imran Khan there, and we've obviously got a growing number of alumni that have graduated from that college. But we've got people who are key people in the city of Bradford as well, who've got links to Pakistan, who've been supporting the university in some of our international activities just recently.
Oh, so what sort of activities have you taken?
So there's been some work that's been undertaken with some delegations out to Pakistan. That's some local business people have been supporting with us with Jumpstart Pakistan at the minute.
I see, yes.
Yeah.
Have you done anything with India or Bangladesh?
In India, the same. We've had a number of delegations to India recently, and we're trying to increase our recruitment from India.
Right.
We'd welcome more Indian students very much. We do those areas of study that would be of interest to students from India, but it is one of those areas that we've targeted as one of our priority areas to focus on for recruitment.
And what sort of students come to the university from Pakistan, for example? What sort of courses are they interested in?
Generally, I would say they're interested in more of the science courses, sometimes management, but definitely science. Students from Africa tend to be interested in more things like business studies and peace and international development. So it does vary the interest in the subject areas by country. So
geographically, people have different expressions of interest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. I mean, obviously, as I say, we have a very large Pakistani population in Bradford, and you just mentioned about links with Pakistan. But in your sort of management team, for example, do you have a board that sort of oversees your role, or trustees, or you governors as they have in school? And is that I mean, forgive me, I'm naive in university structures, but how does that structure work? How does the university sort of people scrutinize the work of yourself and the university?
That's right. So universities we operate under a royal charter that makes us a university. We're a charity. And we have a university council that oversees the business of the university. So they are charged with making sure that we are doing everything right and proper in terms of the financial oversight and the academic standards of the university, and that's chaired by Baroness Anne Taylor. She's our chair of council. So she's the former Labour. She was the chief whip in the Labour Party.
She was the former MP of Dewsbury.
Yes, that's right.
I know her quite well.
I
didn't realise
Bolton.
That. Yeah.
And she's Baroness Anne Taylor of Bolton.
Right, I see. So she chairs the council.
She chairs the
How
university
many members
council.
does the council have?
So she's my boss.
Right. So how many members do you have on the council?
Oh, The exact number, you've called me out on there, we've probably got in the order of about 15 members.
Right, I see. And do you have people from the black minority ethnic community on the council itself?
We do, and we're trying to, I mean, this is the thing about inclusion and diversity, you've got to actively seek out and you know, different people to represent. So we've got a number of our current councillors who are from a black or Asian ethnic minority background from Bradford.
Right.
We've got Amir Hussain, Mohammed Pandor and Shanaz Ali.
Right. Also, you've got 3 there. Oh, that's good representation.
And our students we have students who are on council. So we have 2 student members. Both of those are from Bradford. Right. Both of those are young Muslim women. Oh,
excellent, excellent. And then obviously disability and gender issues are also covered.
Yeah.
So this council also obviously is the overall body which is responsible for ensuring that, you know, due diligence is undertaken when it comes to running the university.
That's right, that's right. And they've got to report to our regulator. So our regulator is the Office for Students. Right. They regulate all universities, so you have to register with them, and then you've got to keep that registration going. So every year we have got to complete accountability returns where our council have got to sign off that they're confident in the university's management and oversight.
And in terms of your staff, you talked about 600 staff. I mean, roughly, do you have in your mind the breakdown of the staff in terms of ethnicity, etc.? Is that representative of the community of Bradford? I would assume it would be, if not completely, partially.
It's representative of the community, the city of Bradford and Craven broadly.
Right.
But it isn't representative of the student body, because the student body is more represented by students.
No, I'm talking about the staff.
The staff, yes.
The lecturers and the tutors, etc.
So they represent the proportion of the difference that you'd see in Bradford city region. But because of our students tend to come from the inner city region, it isn't as representative as the inner city region.
Right, I see. Well, yeah, that I can understand.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of, going back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of the well-being of the students, and you talked about you have multi-faith rooms, facilities, etc. You take on board the needs of the students. Now, obviously, female students, and particularly some female students from the Muslim community, may want to wear the veil, for example. Do you make provision for that? You don't have any objections to?
Not at all.
And I presume you have some students, because I know I did go past one day and I saw some young women in veil going in and out.
Yeah.
So they're openly welcome.
Of course, yeah. We want people to express themselves and dress in a way that they feel that they need to and are comfortable with.
Okay. I mean, just turning to your role in the wider society, you mentioned businesses and the business links that you have. How strong is the university's link with the business community in Bradford? Because we've got some really incredibly good businesses in our region here.
So this is another thing that I want to enhance during my tenure as Vice-Chancellor. So we've got some outstanding links with business, some amazing knowledge transfer partnerships that have been very impactful, and all of our research excellence framework impact case studies were all linked to Bradford businesses this time round.
Right.
So, but what we need to do is we need to do more of those. So I see that we can play a stronger role in enhancing the economic impact in the city and sort of making a bigger difference there. So we do have an outstanding business school. It's Triple Crown accredited. And through the business school, we're starting to make inroads with our new PVC, Zahir Irani. So he's
what's the PVC?
So he's the Pro Vice Chancellor for academic innovation and quality.
Right. Okay.
So there's 2. There's a PVC that looks after knowledge exchange and research as well. I
mean, Bradford is well known. It's the curry capital of the world.
Yes, it is.
Right. I mean, we have lots of businesses here who are centred around food. You've got IQRA, for example, Regal Foods, Nafis, etc., Milo Ho, and many others, in Bradford. Are you working in partnership with any in the food sector at all to provide management training program, for example?
Yes.
Diplomas, etc., degrees?
Yeah. Not directly. Indirectly through management programs, logistics, supply chain, digital. So finance, accounting, so to support businesses, but not directly into
with the businesses themselves.
Well, not directly, I suppose, into the food element of it, if you know what I mean. So we don't do hospitality, for example. We don't do.
Well, that's the college do that, don't they?
Yeah, but
Bradford College next door.
Yeah, that's right. But we do all of the wraparound, I suppose, support systems that businesses need.
Right. I mean, as I said, there's a huge food sector in this area.
Massive,
We're the curry
It's
capital.
massive.
Curry capital of the world, as far as I'm concerned. And why not? We've got some amazing places, that we have in the Bradford region, Bradford area. But I mean, food plays an important role in the economy of Bradford.
It does, and the culture.
Yeah, and the Asian subcontinent culture. I mean, the college is running some training programs around food, food engineering, skills around food production, things like that. Do you have links with the college at all? Do you work closely with the college?
We do, and we're working more closely now in terms of developing pathways into the university from the college. But there's some things that we could collaborate on more closely. Some of them relate to the media that you were talking about earlier, media, TV production, etc. The hospitality could be one area. I mean, it's really important if you think about what you said about the importance of food and the world's capital curry capital of the world, then there is a big link between growing the economy through tourism. And if we can find a way of increasing the tourists to Bradford through its food, through its culture, we've got a massive culture offering as well. I'm sure
you come from the northeast, so that's your origin, and you told me before that you then worked to the Merseyside. Merseyside, you were at the university there, John Moores University, for nearly 9-10 years, and then you came over here. I mean, was that a cultural shock for you? I mean, because I presume in Teesside you didn't see many Black and Asian people over there.
Yeah.
Merseyside obviously is a large African Caribbean community.
Yeah, that's right.
Which has been settled there for a very, very long time.
And a strong Irish link as well.
Yes, and strong Irish link over there. But not many people from the Asian subcontinent.
No.
So coming from Merseyside to Bradford must have been a real surprise, if not a shock.
Yeah, I think it was, I've learned so much in the last 10 years at Bradford. It has really made me a better person.
Right.
It's seriously made me think more seriously and act deliberately in terms of understanding differences and culture and the impact that has on how we should support our students and our staff as well. And it's also made me much more sensitive to the issues that people face from different races, and how there's a lack of tolerance and there's a lack of acceptance in many ways. And I've become a great champion, and I want to be a better champion of inclusion.
All right. In terms of inclusion, obviously that's very important for everybody. I mean, what are your plans for the future in terms of building your links even stronger with the wider community? As I said, the mosques, there's several mosques who surround the university. Do you have any proposals to see how you can link up with those mosques?
So I think through the development...
There's a council of mosques as well in Bradford.
There is Zulfi.
Yes.
So
Zulfi's on there,
Zulfi Karam is...
Zulfi Karim is the president of the council of mosques. For our viewers who may not know Bradford that well, who may be abroad. Yeah. But we have a council of mosques, and Zulfi Karim is the current president of the council of mosques.
So Zulfi was actually on my appointment panel.
All right.
He was. He gave up a very important meeting to be on the panel. I think he was meant to be representing the Queen, as you do, in your role as a DL. So what we need to do is we can't just leave these things to happen chance. So my plan is to design in through strategically our work with the mosques, our work with other churches. Exactly, and we need to be going out and saying, right, this is what we think the University of Bradford stands for. This is how we see our growth. This is what we want to do in terms of becoming more diverse and more inclusive. And these are the programs and the research offerings that we will do. Right. And sometimes we need to take advice from people as well. Right.
And do you have an advisory body other than, you've got the council? Do you have an informal network of advisors?
So at the minute, each of the academic areas has its own advisory group.
All right.
My intention is to establish a university advisory board that will advise me on the development of our strategy and its rollout.
Right. Okay. I mean, obviously, you know, this is a new challenge for you. You've been working at the university for 9 years or more, as you say. The role that you've now got as the Vice Chancellor of the university
is very different.
Is very different to what you were doing before. Obviously, huge sort of challenges facing you, particularly as we go forward with Brexit as a potential, you know, where we may crash out, we may not crash out. I mean, do you see that if we were to crash out, do you see that as having a positive or negative impact on the university in terms of bringing students from abroad? I mean, you know, you get European students at the moment who can come into the country and enroll, I suppose, without any issues.
Yeah.
But if we do crash out, do you think that's going to be problematic for those students who want to come? And what is it that you would say to those students, why Bradford as opposed to Leeds or Sheffield or Manchester or somewhere? What has Bradford got to give that they don't have? I know what Sheffield hasn't got to give, the curry capital and the culture that we have here, for example. But
So
what has Bradford got that's unique for you?
Yeah, so on the Brexit issue, we've done a lot of contingency planning in terms of what would happen if we crashed out without a deal. And, you know, we wouldn't like to crash out without a deal. A lot of the research funding that universities receive is European research funding. So the research element would not be great. In terms of our recruitment of European students, we do recruit some, but the majority of our students are from non-EU programmes.
Okay.
The loss of the Erasmus programmes would be really damaging because the Erasmus programmes...
This is a scientific programme, isn't it? Is it a
it's
scientific
a student and staff exchange.
staff exchange programme.
Funded by European funding.
Right.
So a lot of our home students benefit because they can spend a semester or a year or just a few weeks in another university abroad. It gives them opportunities that they wouldn't normally have.
Right.
So they could go to Russia or Africa or various other countries, and we would exchange students.
Yeah.
So we would need to find a way of having student exchanges still to Europe, which
And that would
we
have
would
major
want to do.
financial implications, wouldn't it?
So we would need to find that funding. So we may not be able to do it on the same scale, but we would attempt to do that.
All right.
I think in terms of what Bradford offers, you know, when people come to Bradford, they often say, we weren't sure. I mean, our home students are sure that they want to come to Bradford. But some students might say, well, we weren't quite sure because we didn't know whether we would fit in and we don't really know the city very well. And sometimes they've got negative perceptions about the city. But when they've been with us, overwhelmingly, they like the warmth of the city. This city is a really good place to study, but you have to spend time to get to know it. You have to spend time understanding where you can go and get a good curry.
Right.
You've got to mix with different people, and you've got to understand that, and it brings a richness. You've got friends for life. Now, I think the other thing we offer is we understand that it's very challenging to come to university for the first time, first in family. And I think we understand what it is that students face, and we try and make sure they get to the end there comfortably. And all of our research is applied. So if you come to Bradford and you study a degree in engineering or peace studies, the academics are seriously expert in those areas, and you'll be exposed to applied research as well as the care and attention that all of our staff give the students.
In terms of students, obviously coming from abroad, I mean, student accommodation is a major issue for them. Do you find that that is not a problem in Bradford? The accommodation is readily available for students? And,
Yeah.
I mean, the private sector probably is not as, let's say, kind and caring in providing good quality accommodation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you have any issues around that?
So we have some student accommodation on the university campus.
Right.
It's not our own, it's run through a partnership arrangement we have. The quality of the accommodation is very good. We're trying to negotiate on the price for that. Generally, what I would say about the accommodation in Bradford, there's an oversupply of student accommodation.
Oh, I see.
And the quality is variable.
Right.
So students can be fairly selective, and they need to look around and find what's best for them.
So anybody who's coming from abroad, they need to do their research quite well. And do you have an in-house facility to guide them and point them in the right direction?
Yeah, there's advice that they can get from our staff, our admin staff, and there's a thing called Homes for Students, which is an independent organisation that can give advice as well.
Oh, I see. I mean, in terms of going forward now, obviously new to the post, although not new to the area, what do you see are your main challenges over the next 12 to 18 months?
So I've got to make sure that we stick, this is a very obvious one, got to stick to our financial plan.
Right.
So we are recovering from a big change programme. Right. And if we stick to our financial plan, that means that we can start generating more cash to invest. So we need to do some more investments in our campus. We've got a priority list. The other area really is we've got to be able to weather the increasing and sustained competition from other universities. So we've got to increase the quality and quantity of our research. So we're focusing on our strengths and what differentiates us in our research. And we've got to make sure that the student experience is the best it can be. So we've got to have. And
how do you qualify that and quantify that? I'm assuming you do student surveys, etc. Do you?
Yeah, we do student surveys, and we see some variability, and we want to iron out the variability so that every programme offers the best student experience.
I mean, in terms of student. They become your ambassadors, don't they?
They are.
If they go out there and criticize the university, then you scuppered basically in a way. If they go out and sell your university, then that's 10 out of 10 for you, and that encourages others. I mean, in terms of, do you have student ambassadors then?
We do. We have student ambassadors that actually sort of support us officially there are official ambassadors.
All right.
And they help us out with open days and things. But our ambassadors are our alumni. We've got them all over the world. They speak highly of Bradford. And personally, I'm leading a challenge that we will be working with our students more directly. So I'm personally holding student listening events. And I do feel that I've got a reputation, a good reputation, for putting students at the centre of what I do as well. So over the last 10 years while I've been at Bradford, I've worked with 10 different sets of sabbatical officers. I still keep in touch with them. They still keep in contact with me, want to know how I'm doing, how the university's doing.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'm glad to that you're doing all these initiatives, and good luck to you over the next 10 to 12 to 18 months, as I say. I hope you found to this episode with Professor Sadi Condon, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Bradford, of some interest, and I'm sure parents who will be watching this program will be reassured that they now have somebody at the helm of the university who's very, very much focused not just on student experience, but also developing strong community links and networks within the Bradford and surrounding areas. Professor Sadi Condon, thank you very much for being my guest. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I wish you all the best, and one day hopefully we'll be asking you to come back again when the university has more accolades and more awards. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you enjoy the program. May Allah bless you, take care of you, and remember us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.